Hello everyone, AM Harbinger here, and just in case, spoilers about The Last of Us Part 2, because I'm certain this article has it. But anyway, I've made it very clear about how I feel about Abby. To me, she is a terrible character and a awful person. She killed one of the most beloved characters in The Last of Us Part 1, forced Ellie to watch, and in conjunction forced the player to watch. Her introduction was so poorly executed, that's all she was known for most of the game. She gets all her friends killed for her own personal vendetta mission that she tracked Joel down for 4 years and found him suddenly somehow, by luck. She doesn't feel anything that she got her friends killed other than one letter that says I miss you, Owen, not taking into account all the other people she got killed, and ultimately gets off scot-free. In fact, I would argue Abby's entire story is that it's okay to commit to revenge as long as you don't suffer the consequences for that mission, because she doesn't really suffer at all. She just sails off and goes on with her life while causing permanent emotional and physical scars to another beloved character, Ellie, who has to suffer for her actions. But according to this article from Polygon, The Last of Us Part 2 proves gaming doesn't know how to deal with muscular women. Okay. Um, I guess she's never heard of Zarya from Overwatch. That character it still is a beloved character. No one really had problem with Zarya, but people have problem with Abby. Okay, let's read on. With AAA video games having recently started incorporating more female protagonists, what? The Walking Dead, Clementine, almost every major Final Fantasy game has had a female protagonist or duogonist. Overwatch has several major female characters who are each the star of their own story. Resident Evil, Clara Redfield and Jill Valentine. Metroid, Samus Aran. Okay. For the most part, these characters fit a specific build. Okay, I generally understand that. Leading ladies are often svelte and thin, and while they may also be capable of serious feats of strength, their features are often delicate. The idea seems to be these protagonists desirable to straight men, even as these characters kick dudes' asses. What? Now, beauty appeal is determined by the beholder. There are a lot of people who, find characters like Samus Aran sexy, but I'm also certain there are people who find Abby beautiful. Again, it's by the beholder. And the fact she said desirable to only straight men, I'm certain that there are probably bisexual and lesbian women who probably find Abby attractive. It varies. Beauty is not established. It's whatever the person finds appealing. It varies between person to person. So your first paragraph is extremely weak. Abby, a new character introduced in The Last of Us Part 2, does not fit the mold, except her voice, which doesn't really fit the character's look. A lot of people have pointed this out. It's very delicate and soft, not representative of her huge build, which I also agree. Her face is anchored by a square jaw, which gives her visage a wider look, at least compared to the heart-shaped face that defines most women in games. Perhaps most notably, Abby is buff. Really? I haven't noticed. Your eyes are drawn to her chest and muscular arms. They are? I mean, when I saw Abby, I was immediately drawn to her face, but I don't know. I look at a person's face whenever I, interact with them, even in a video game. But I don't know. Maybe I'm strange. Which, according to The Last of Us Part 2, she worked very hard across multiple years to beef off. Actually, that's not really established. Yeah, she says that she makes short cues like she likes the gym and, she works out, but she doesn't really say that she worked really hard for this. I mean, there are people out there who can achieve this build without working that hard because they're just genetically much stronger. But, I mean, she doesn't really establish that she's, working out every day or that she eats right every day. In fact, during the halfway point of the game, you actually see her sleeping while everyone else is working out, and it's clearly midday. So, not really working that hard if you're sleeping till midday. As someone who regularly boxes and plays sports, Abby's appearance isn't just familiar to me, it's aspirational. It's been baffling to see some of the popular dissenting opinion on the game, which is often directed against Abby. Yeah, because she's a terrible character, a terrible person, she's a hypocrite, and she gets all her closest friends killed. Like, literally. One of the biggest contradictions I have with Abby is the fact that she decides to sacrifice the chance to tell her friends to warn them about Tommy being in Seattle after Manny tells her that trespassers have been killing WLF members, and instead decides to go to an island to save Lev, who she only knew for one day instead of her lifelong friends. Like, think about that. What kind of person does that? You knew this person for one day, and your lifelong friends' lives are in danger against someone who's a credible threat. Like, that's not a good person. That's an awful person. But the dislike seems unavoidable. The Last of Us Part 2 asks you to play as a character who fundamentally opposed to the heroes who've spent hours learning to love and protect. Heroes? Joel and Ellie are not heroes. They never established themselves to be heroes at all. In fact, Joel even says that he is a killer. He is not a hero. We've never established them as heroes. Anyone who's played Part 1 knows that these characters are not heroes. They're awful people. I mean, Ellie is a little more flexible, but she is not a hero. She kills a lot of people. And learning to love and protect? I mean, Joel and Ellie protect? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would protect me. They are very capable people. They don't need protection at all. Abby is a hard sell, and that would be true no matter what she looked like. Because it's not what she looks like. It's what she did, what she does. She is a terrible person. She kills a beloved character from Part 1. She gets all her friends killed because of her own personal vendetta. She's a hypocrite. Owen calls her out of being a hypocrite when he decides to leave the WLF to go to find the Fireflies rumored to be in Santa Barbara. And then Abby tells him that he's stuck in the past, which he then correctly calls her out on, stating that she literally spent 4 years tracking down Joel and killed him in front of his daughter while she was crying on the floor while her friends held... Like, what? Did this person play Part 1? I'm gonna ask that. But much of the hate visible on social media isn't just about the story and Abby's likability compared to Ellie and Joel. It's fixated on Abby's jacked up body. Okay, that I do agree with. There are people out there who immediately target Abby's body. I target her personality, on the other hand. Have gamers ever liked or seen a woman before? Actually, I have seen similar memes like this. So yeah, I mean, women like this exist. If you ever go on Instagram and Google and search for female bodybuilders, yeah, they're like this. They also dedicate a lot of time to get that body. It takes a lot of sleeping, a lot of nutritional dedication, and a lot of lifting. Like, you really have to push yourself to get a body like that. It's not easy. And I mean, I did find it a bit strange that someone in a post-apocalyptic world can get this. Yes, the WLF do have a surplus of resources, but it's more than just nutrition. And as I stated before, Abby's first introduction prior to the opening chapters is her sleep until midday. So, you know, this is a character that somehow achieved this body type without really working that hard. Not to mention that the nutritional diversity needed to achieve this body type isn't exactly present within The Last of Us Part 2. In fact, they make it very clear that they've been eating burritos for a long time. So, I don't know, someone achieving a body like this while eating a large sum of burritos? Anyone who's seen bodybuilders' nutritional diets knows that they eat a large amount of lean protein, lots of vegetables, lots of fruits, and they also have a doctor in order to determine what their body needs. So, yeah, I don't think she has all that things in a world where a cordyceps infection has killed most of humanity. If you think the normal for women is having a kind of muscular and stature, just go outside, man, one misguided viral Twitter post reads. Yeah, there are people like that. I won't argue against that. Posts that Abby at all often break down to arguments to whether or not she's not realistic and whether or not women could actually look like that. Yeah, there are arguments like that, but women do look like that. I mean, yeah. The funny thing is that, like many characters in The Last of Us Part 2, Abby is particularly based on a real person. She's based on Colleen Foch. I hope I'm... Okay, I can see that. Yeah. But let's look at this person. Not that, Colleen Foch. Let's look at her. Okay. Yeah, she's ripped. Very strong. But to achieve a body like this, she really has to work every day for it. I'm sure she has a very strict regimen in order to achieve this body. She has to really dedicate herself with, which Abby is shown not to really be doing. Again, halfway through the game, we see that she's sleeping till midday. This, of course, doesn't satisfy some detractors. It changes the debate. Is there enough food for someone in the post-apocalyptic to mass up like this? Yes, the WLF is canonically depicted to have plenty of resources. Yes, they do have plenty of resources, but they also have a lot of people to feed. In fact, they actually establish within the game that a lot of these people have to wait in order to get their food. I forgot when it happens, but when you're controlling Ellie, after the school level, when you're seeing a bunch of WLF patrol members, they actively state that they're hungry, they can't wait for the next burrito. And yeah, even though they have lots of resources, they still allocate them. They're not going to give Abby more resources in order to mass up like this. So, yeah, they do have more resources, but they're also have to make sure they have enough for everyone. Can we really see this realistic body type is theoretically you have to train ages to achieve it? Yeah, you do. Realism has no bearing on how common something is, just whether or not it could be true. I mean, I would argue against that because The Last of Us Part 2, one of the driving factors of the game's marketing is how real it is. And the fact that you only see one person who looks like Abby in the game kind of also raises a lot of red flags. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't see another female who looks like Abby in this entire game. Heck, you don't see another male who looks like that. Most of them are very thin and kind of malnourished to an extent because they have to allocate resources to a large sum of people. Perhaps the grossest result of all in this instance is that Abby can only look if her character was trans. I mean, a lot of the argument about her being trans was with the leaks. A lot of the leaks said that she was a trans character, so a lot of people still believe she was trans in the game, even though it's established she's not a trans character. As if only folks who are assigned male at birth could possibly have big muscles. Also not true. Again, you can go on Instagram and Google and search that, and you'll get a bunch of women who look stronger than men. It does take a great deal of dedication to achieve that for both males and females, but yeah, I don't think a large amount of people, at least people who actually do research, would argue against that. It seems like she's targeting a very few minority of people, but I don't know. That conspiracy theory has been debunked by folks behind the game, but the fact is, the idea could exist at all reveals something uncomfortable about what limited types of body we all used to seeing in the medium. Abby doesn't look like most women, it's true, but Abby's appearance is not only potentially jarring because video games lack range when it comes to body diversity, not because women can actually look like that. We can, and we do. I'm glad Abby's here to prove it. Again, Abby isn't the only person. There's Zarya and a lot of other characters who are buff like her. And I mean, the same can be said about male characters. Look at Bigby Wolf from The Wolf Among Us. Look at Gears of War with all those buff COG soldiers. There are male characters who demonstrate unrealistic body expectations just as much as females. And a large sum of people who hate Abby are deconstructing her personality and seeing that she is a terrible person. Like, she's not a good person. I mean, Joel isn't a good person at all, but a lot more people can relate to him because of the things he's done. He saved Ellie because she's a daughter to him and he doesn't want to see his daughter get killed. Abby, on the other hand, goes on a personal vendetta, gets all her friends killed, and feels nothing. She bonds with a character she's only known for one day, who is aligned with an organization that she profoundly hates and establishes that she hates to the point that she would actually torture people who are inside this torture chamber, who are literally cowering in the corner, beaten, and to the point that they have literally been broken.
I wouldn't mind a few minutes with these guys.
I hear that.
Like, Abby is shown that she would cause violence for the sake of violence. Joel only caused violence because he had to. Someone attacks him, he has to do it to survive. He didn't seek this out. Abby actively seeks out violence to cause havoc. She will hurt someone just because. I don't know. I feel like this article makes some points, but her opening argument is just so poorly written that it kind of destroys the entire thing. Like the foundation of a building that's so weakly put together that it slowly crumbles. Like your opening paragraph has to really hook the person reading, and it has so many flaws, like incorporating more female protagonists, even though there are a lot of female protagonists in video games. You know, you can pick them out. And desirable to only straight men, which is subjective because beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So I don't know. And plus the idea of the realism of Abby's body type, despite there's no one who looks like Abby throughout the game, but somehow she achieved this, you know, with limited resources, is a little strange. And how you can paint an actual bodybuilder who dedicates most likely her entire time to achieve that body, but Abby can sleep through half the day and still look this good. I don't know. It seems that this article is it's really poorly written, and it's trying to capitalize on the hate surrounding Abby. So what do you think about this article? Do you think that it's because the gamers' hatred towards Abby is determined because gamers can't handle muscular women, even though gamers have acted positively to other muscular women? Or do you think it's completely right and her argument is sound? Let me know in the comments below, and leave a like, a comment, and I'll see you all next time. Stay awesome, everyone. Also, check out my other Last of Us videos. I'll have them in the links below.